Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic:
what famous person did horrible things that people largely forgot about? Salvador Dali found a thrill in torturing and killing living things, both animals and humans. He tried to kill his sister and one of his lovers. He tortured and killed animals. George Orwell wrote the scathing condemnation of our willingness to overlook what a horrible sociopath he was just so that he might paint us another pretty picture. A summary. https www.theguardian.com/art_john-09/George-Orwell-art-critic-Salvador-D. Ali. The original article. http www.george-orwell.org/benefit_of_clergy _some_notes_on_Salvador_Dali/0.html. That's so surprising. His art made him seem so stable. I remember seeing an interview where someone asked him if he did drugs and replied, "I am the drug." Pretty sure dude was just off. About a decade ago I worked with this old guy who claimed to have been friends with Salvador Dali. When he was younger, he said he sometimes hung out with Dali when he was painting, and Dali would occasionally convince women to come back to his studio to let him paint them in the nude. Then Dali and this guy would jerk off to the naked women together. I'm not sure which would be worse, that story being true or an 80-plus-year-old man making up a story about jerking off with Salvador Dali and telling it to me, a then 25-year-old woman. I bet it was true. Seems like him. Travis Scott essentially leaving his manager for dead in the studio. His loyal ex-manager, who suffered from seizures, had one while Travis was with him. Travis abandoned him while it was happening and went home, then texted him firing him a day later, saying, "I can't have a manager who's shaking on the ground and shit." The lack of empathy continued with Astro World. As someone married to a man with epilepsy, this makes me so angry. Fuck Travis Scott. Seriously, WTF? ? As someone who just had their first ever seizure in my early 30s, I literally cannot imagine someone doing this. When I woke up from mine, everyone was so panicked and concerned. Even total strangers who just happened to be there when it happened. My husband spent the next week not sleeping because every time I moved in my sleep, he panicked thinking it was happening again. Heaven forbid I knock over a shampoo bottle while in the shower. He's there knocking on the door asking if I'm okay. Within 10 seconds, tears of joy. He's the best smiling face. Fuck Travis Scott. I helped a stranger, woman, having a seizure at the airport today near the security checkpoint. The number of people standing around with their phones out was sad. When it was over, I cleaned up her vomit and rubbed her back and wiped her face and neck with a wet towel while we waited for the paramedics. I can't imagine leaving someone having a seizure. Some people are terrible. Edit. Thank you for the discussion, information, and personal stories you have shared. I appreciate your comments and hope it has been useful for others too. I responded below. This was my first experience helping someone with a seizure. My brother-in-law has epilepsy and I have heard my sister talk about some of his seizures. She lays him down and holds him and talks softly to him and rubs his back and tries to help him relax. I have learned so much from all of you. I don't know if it was appropriate to rub her back. I just wanted to reassure her, tell her she was okay and not alone, and hoping it would help her relax. Everything happened so fast. I only wrote about this because we should know people can't control seizures and we are capable of helping. Ops story about Travis Scott is outrageous and selfish, and everyone deserves better than what he did. Seizure first aid. Stay safe. Side. Stay with the person, keep them safe, turn them on their side. Here is a handy image guide for seizure first aid for anyone who wants it. I have seizures, and I have this as my phone screen and also my Apple Watch screen. Also, you're amazing for doing that, heart. It's really fucking awful to have a seizure. But unfortunately that is something most people don't understand. Hell, I didn't even understand until my first one last year, at 33 years old. Personally I was scared, confused as fuck, and also extremely embarrassed. It was terrible and I literally wouldn't wish it on anyone. Kurt Johnson. The billionaire whose family owned the household products company, S.C. Johnson, was arrested in March 2011 for molestation, faced with a potential 40-year sentence for repeatedly assaulting his teenage stepdaughter. The businessman, who was worth an estimated $4.2 billion in 2019, only received 3 months in prison and a fine of $6,000. Alongside the short prison term and the fine that hardly made a dent in his fortune, Johnson also didn't have to register as a sex offender. S.C. Johnson, a family company. $6K not only didn't make a dent in his fortune, the fact he wasn't doing rich guy shit for 3 months means it was probably a net gain. Instead of serving out his 8-year prison sentence, the sentencing order signed by Delaware Superior Court Judge Jan R. Jurden said that the defendant will not fare well in prison, and thus the 8-year sentence was suspended. Oh, he would not fare well in prison. I hadn't thought of it that way, but it kind of makes sense. I mean, we want our convicted felons living their best life, and prison can be kind of a depressing place. It's like they're not even trying.